Doubts over Rotich super growth rate and some graphics there to help put all this into context. 4.2% growth registered by manufacturing sector, 65,000 new jobs created in 2018, and of course 8.9 billion in terms of revenue when you're looking at the train service and the cargo carrying ability of the train.
Almost the same thing on the Daily Nation front page. Economy grew, but where are the jobs? It says expenditure stands at 3 trillion shillings in 2018-2019. That's the overall expenditure by the national government, and it's expected to grow by 17.8% to 3 trillion. So it also further says that there were 840,600 jobs created. That's employment numbers. And also corruption was at 3.8 billion. Education was at 26.6%. So, but the main question the Daily Nation is asking is, where are the jobs?
Where are the jobs? Let's ask our guests who are here with us if they've seen these jobs or not. Let me start from their far right. We have Kagwe Mongai, an artist. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Kagwe, thank you so much. And we also have Rita Oyer, founder and CEO, Heri Online. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much, Wahiga.
Rita, let me start with you. Where are the jobs? That's what the Daily Nation is asking this morning. Do you see them, materializing in this economy?
I think there's an opportunity for jobs. I think with the growth of, say, startup economy or the Big Four plan, there's actually opportunity for jobs. I think the better question is, are we prepared skill-wise to take those jobs? Do we have the right skills, the right mindsets, the right attitude, the right networks to take up those opportunities?
You seem to be driving somewhere. You're an employer and you've been employed before. Talk to me about what you used to hear when you were employed and what you're seeing now that people are sending you their CVs and asking you for work.
First of all, I think the quality of employable people is a bit on the lower side right now as compared to when I was getting into the job market. And it's not because they have not gone to school. There's more people who have degrees and college certificates. But I think it's maybe attitude or actually technical skills. Where someone comes, they want a job, but if you ask them to do something specific that delivers a result, then there's a challenge. So as an employer, I have to invest so much in training. Over the years, I've been an employer since 2014. I have to invest so much in bringing the skill set to a place where now I don't have to micromanage. And it takes so much because someone gives you a job to add value and to produce a result. If the journey to that is a bit long, then it's trainers. So there are so many people who'd send CVs, you'd sit and interview people, but you have to the mentoring part is heavier than the delivery for a longer time than when some of us got into the market. So I think there's opportunity. For example, now the Big Four agenda, it's manufacturing, health sector, food security, how are the youth prepared skill-wise to take up those opportunities? Because that's where the jobs will be created. But we have the skills to take those opportunities.
Okay. So the issue here for you is, where is the gap? Is it in the education system, or what happens? Because when you say that they have the qualifications but they don't have the practical skills, is it that what they're learning is not sufficient enough? I cannot speak for some sectors. My sector is basically communications and marketing. Yeah. I may not be very I may not be very good at speaking for, say, construction, but in my industry, the gap is application. Have you joined the dots between what you learned and how it's needed today? And sometimes it's even attitude. Sometimes it's things that you're not even taught in school. For example, capitalizing a sentence, punctuating, showing up to work on time. Sometimes it's not even simple discipline issues sometimes.
Yes, because if you're dealing with customers in my industry, for example, and you're sending an email, you can't send an email without a subject matter. That is not even a technical skill. Now, I'm in the tech startup world. I need developers. I need people who can meet targets. I need people who can give me a plan, a proper documented plan. I need something that I can file. A lot of people can't actually produce this. In fact, unfortunately, sometimes I have to outsource even from India. Okay. I don't think Indians are very good with English, but they'll give me the proper paperwork that I need, and they'll honor their timelines, and they have the technical skills. All right. So I don't know what the gap, I cannot really put a finger to it, but if I was asked to speculate where we need to go as the youth, I think we need to develop
technical skills that deliver results. We have to stop talking about work and actually develop work skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kagwe, you interact with the youth a lot.
I do.
And now the Economic Survey says this is the extraordinary GDP growth in 2018. Is it being felt on the ground? What are they telling you? Do they feel that, is there a trickle-down effect?
I think at this point, for me, from my perspective, what I'm really seeing and feeling is that there's a lot of entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship in ways that are not necessarily traditional, right? So it's in informal sectors. The other day I saw this guy that is now doing advertisements on his mkokoteni. So you pay for advertising space on his mkokoteni.
It's like a moving billboard.
Exactly, it's a moving billboard, right? And I think that people are starting to really be switched on in the different ways in which they can make money. Now, I think as you mentioned as well, I think for me, one of the big issues is education. I think a lot of people come out of school or college and whatever it is, and you don't have those real practical skills. I remember thinking that I've learned how to do Pythagoras theorem, but I don't know how to do my taxes, right? And for me, that's a real skill that I need in the real world, rather than Pythagoras theorem, although it may apply for some people in their fields. So I think for me, it's education, definitely. But I think that people are also being extremely innovative, but it's not extremely loud either at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Rita spoke about discipline and challenges that she feels, or she alluded to it at least, even if not directly. You work in a sector that doesn't do 8 to 5.
Right.
How do you manage your time in a sector like that? How do you keep time, especially because in your sector, technically there isn't any boss. You sort of have to have your own personal drive to be able to get stuff done.
I think it's the same with any field that you're taking kind of ownership on as an individual, as an entrepreneur or that kind of thing. It really comes down to the importance that you place on it, right? And I think you mentioned it earlier. You said that there's just this thing that people say, at least the youth are not as driven. They're not as committed to doing these things, and I think it's a very inbuilt thing, right? At least from an entrepreneurship standpoint, where there is no boss, like you said. I keep myself accountable, right? If I mess up, then that's on me. If I'm late for something, then that's on me. The repercussions fall directly on me. And I think in situations where the repercussions aren't felt directly, then there's less of a need to try that hard.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
But for the people you work with, do they have that same discipline? I'm sure you interact with them a lot, and are you seeing that in some of them?
No, in my industry, it's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Really?
I think in terms, at times we get called for interviews, and the station may tell you to come an hour early.
We were expecting 2 more.
2 out of 4.
Yes. You see.
I hope the others are watching in the VIP. I hope they're about to come on. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly.
So and it's funny that this has come up at this time. One of the biggest talking points this week on social media has been about Coachella and how Beyonce prepared for 8 months or 6 months, something of the sort, for a 2-hour presentation.
Right.
That level of focus.
Yes.
Do we have that here? Do you have that in your industry?
I don't think it's seen as much, and I'm not sure exactly the reason as to why. I think it's a part of the industry and its development. Right, so for example, for that particular 2-hour set of Beyonce's, she had probably 3 or 4 music directors. There was a film director. There was 3 choreographers for the dance routines. There was several different players who are all professionals in their fields coming together to create this one memorable, amazing performance. Right, but I think in our industry, because it's not as developed, you'll find that the director is the same person who is the writer, who is the same person that is the this and is the same, and so on and so forth, right? Because for myself, I remember when I was beginning in the industry before I got my record deal, I was doing everything myself, right? So I was the PR person, I was the accountant, I was everything, the producer, the singer, the performer. I have to go and align the legal side, but I feel the strength comes in having people who are experts, or at least stronger in those particular areas.
Yeah. Coming in to plug in.
Exactly.
Rita, let me ask you this. You talked about how sometimes you're forced to outsource your work to India because they bring in something new, something fresh that you're not getting here.
Yeah.
How do you think they inculcated, if that's the right word, those skills? How did they become what you needed that young people here or people here are not providing?
Oh, I can tell you.
Have you managed to kind of find the history? Or?
First of all, it's education. If coding is coding is coding.
Yeah.
So find it in school or find it in all these other learning platforms. Go to Udemy, learn something. Have a technical skill. Like I said, we cannot talk about work. The work is in the working. Then secondly, our culture has become so poor. Like where you tell people tenderpreneurship and brokering is actually work. It's not. You have to have a technical skill that you take it to the market. And I think where Kenya is headed, we have to stop. If the president could listen to me for 1 second, can we cut this tenderpreneurship French word that I have left out?
Yeah, I was worried that I was going to have to censure
Because you can't tell people wheeler dealing and brokering is actually your path to wealth. If you go to the Silicon Valley, the majority of the startup founders there are actually technical coders. They code and they finish. If they're doing for you digital marketing, they understand the space, the technical space. They can give you the numbers and the performance. They're not just talking. If there's a page on Facebook where people look for jobs, I mean, there are many. Yeah. You go there and say, okay, I need 10 people to do for me digital marketing. All they know is making the posts or engaging. But if you ask for, give me analytics, give me this, nobody can produce that for you. So first of all, our culture is wrong. But we have to love learning a technical skill. We will not industrialize in this country if all we are doing is tenderpreneuring. Because for me to supply you glasses, I don't have to know how to make a glass.
The glasses.
I just have to go to China and bring them. But have I learned how to make a glass? This country needs to stop importing glasses and make glasses. Okay. That's the path. That's the path to industrialization. That's the path to growth.
Okay.
Yeah, but also just to add on what the question you asked about Coachella and the artist, I think we also have been taught, and we have to break away from it. We have to desire to build big businesses. If I want to desire to build big businesses, not just businesses that pay our rent. Because if you build a big business, then you employ more people, and you need this expert you're talking about, because I understand I'm building a big thing, therefore I need a director, I need a script, I can't be everything, because how can I be big just by myself? Yeah. But if all I want is to pay my bill, then I can just do a small thing in my own small space and be everything and then be comfortable. But we don't have the desire to build big businesses.
But I believe Kagwe should respond to this, because I don't think necessarily that's the main reason. Some of it could be just simple as resources. I have this talent that I want to bring to the world. I can sing, but I can't simply afford to get a choreographer, director, so I have to do all these things by myself. And as much as I'm not the expert in all this, it's just a lack of resources. 100%. So there's also the issue of how much funding do people get and where do they get it from? How much support from even the government, so to speak? Right. Isn't that what you're facing right now?
I think so.
Or is it just a matter of greed? I want to do all these things so that I keep the money to myself.
I think it's a bit of both. Yeah. I think it's a bit of both. And there's a discussion that goes around the music industry quite a bit that there was no elevation of newer artists from the older generation of artists, you know. So that's talking about from the Caliph record days, you know. You wouldn't see old artists mentoring and nurturing new talent to come up. Yeah. And therefore, a lot of those knowledge gaps in which that you can't necessarily teach because it's more experience-based are missed, right? And so then, again, we are taken back another 3 years and Nigeria comes and now suddenly Nigerians are making better music than Kenyans. But it's not true, right? So I think for me directly, what I'm seeing and what I'm actually feeling is that there's not enough of the shared knowledge, right? That shared knowledge passed down. Because I think even within the job space, right? I think within my current record label, people are constantly being trained. These are people who've come out of university, but there's a need from the top to understand that these people need to be trained because these skills are transferable and the world is evolving all the time. Yeah. So if I, as myself, I'm not willing to learn new skills, then I guess we'll go nowhere.
Then we might go nowhere. Rita, let me come back to you and ask you this. You talked about people with almost limited expectations. You know, you just want to grow a business just to pay your rent, do a few things, and you're happy with that. Where do you think that limited scope came from? Is it from what you saw and you decided that I can only be as good as this? Is it a Kenyan thing? Is it a, you know, because you sound quite frustrated about it.
Okay, maybe also because I'm a feminist, and when you do all this women in business analysis, and women just want to do small businesses so that they pay their bills and they're closer to, anyway, so maybe that's why they're frustrated.
In the wording, when someone says, niko na kabiashara.
Niko na kahaso.
Kahaso. You know, ka.
Who will invest in a kahaso? You know, this thing is, it's not a chicken and egg, but you have to do the work that is investable. You have to make your idea investable. Nobody will put money in a kahaso. For example, when I started Heri Online, first of all, I just had a Facebook page. I was doing it at the back of a van, put up a page. Then I have an SQ in my house. That's where I would put the stock to serve my customers. But then who will invest in a business that's based in an SQ? I'm working from my bedroom and my stock is in my SQ. If I want my business to be investable, my bookwork has to be accurate. My record keeping has to be perfect. If today you ask me, how much did you make last week? How many customers did you serve? I better give you those numbers. My accounting has to be proper. I can't have from day one, I can't have people paying me cash or paying me on my personal M-Pesa. Why? Because I will need a statement to take to a bank and tell them, please put money in this business. Yeah? You have to build a business that is investable. So it starts from somewhere. I want this thing to be big. I don't want it to just pay my rent. Yeah. So therefore, I have to put the work and the systems in place. And if someone comes today, the paperwork is in order, the team is in order, you have invested. It's called skin in the game. Yeah. For someone to put something in you. My business has been, I can get a bank loan. I have investors from Japan investing in my business. But what did they find? They found me without a small dream, and they found me with my work in order. Yeah, so it's
it was easier to invest.
It's easier to invest. And then also there's so many incubators right now. We are starting to understand this thing that you're talking about, mentorship. Kenyans are starting to understand that. That's why you see incubators popping up. And there's a lot of training that is going on. There's a lot of mentorship that is going on. We are not yet there. If a venture capitalist came to invest in Kenya, of course, it's not as big as in the States or in Nigeria, but the journey has started. So we just have to be ready. Again, like I said in the beginning, how ready are we to take the opportunities?
All right. You know, that note, that's where we're taking a break.
Right.
How ready are we to take the opportunities? Which is almost tied us to the question that we're asking.
Exactly. Do we have that question which you can put up on the screen? This morning we're asking this morning, how can Kenya's youth create opportunities for themselves? What do they need? And already, I think we've already delved a bit into that at the start of this discussion. We're getting into the social scene. After this break, use the hashtag Daybreak. That's how you can talk to us. 22422 is our SMS line. You can also call in. The necessary numbers are
0719777777. You can use the hashtag Daybreak at Trevor Mbija, at Zinzi K, at Waiga Mwaura, at Citizen TV Kenya. We'll love to hear from you. How can the youth create more opportunities for themselves? That coming up on Social Square.
That's right.